Today on AMC Movie Talk, John and the panel discuss Judge Dredd, a RoboCop reboot, the much-anticipated Hobbit trailer, a new Lois Lane, and a whole bunch more. So hang tight, AMC Movie Talk starts right now.
Welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. This is episode number 14, originally recorded on Monday, September the 17th, 2012 at the beautiful AMC 16 in Burbank, California. Judge Dredd. Thanks a lot for joining us. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. As always, I'm your host, John Campia, the show where we talk about all the biggest things going on in the world of movie news from the past couple of days. First of all, joining me for this episode, we're so glad she's back, sitting to my immediate right. She's the co-host with Stan Lee on Cocktails with Stan, Miss Jenna Bush. Jenna, welcome back.
Thank you very much.
You've been on a big adventure lately.
I have been in many, many cities.
Where have you been just in the last month? Where have you been?
New York, Detroit, Atlanta, and Bulgaria.
So you traveled a lot.
As you
do. Yes.
Sitting next to Jenna, she is, of course, the associate editor of movie news here at AMC Theaters, Miss Roth Cornett. Roth.
Hello, interwebs.
Sitting back at our table, who will be checking the chat board and keeping up to date with everything going on there, Miss Cannon Jackson. Candon.
Hello. Thanks, chat roll. They're already getting geared up.
Okay. And by the way, folks, if you have a question or comment or a topic you'd like us to bring up near the end of the show, just throw it in the chat board. Cannon's going to pick out the ones she thinks are most worthy, and we'll discuss those. And of course, sitting off camera, you can't see him because that's just the way he likes it. He's a man of mystery, Mr. Denizen over there running the show. And we're going to start off this episode. First of all, by the way, if you're watching this show on YouTube, you can watch this show live every Monday and Thursday at 11 a.m. Los Angeles time. That's 2 p.m. New York time by going to www.ustream.tv/channel/AMC-theater. Don't worry about memorizing that. You can see it below me right now. And now we're going to start off this episode, as we do every episode, by getting you caught up to date in everything going on in the world of movie news with our news flash.
Dun-dun-dun.
The remake of the 1987 film RoboCop is set to be released in theaters next summer, August 9th, 2013, and shooting for the film has already begun up in Toronto, Canada, my old stomping grounds. Where our first look at the new RoboCop has been taken. The first picture of the new RoboCop has been taken. And here it is. You can see the picture up on the screen right now. Your new Alex Murphy is, of course, Alex Murphy is RoboCop, is played by actor Joel Kinnaman, who you may know from the acclaimed TV series The Killing. He's also appeared in such films as Lola Versus, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, and Safe House. And look at that. It looks like RoboCop is the ugly love child of Batman and Iron Man.
For the first time in 10 weeks and just the second time in 20 weeks, check this out. Batman! The Dark Knight Rises has fallen. This is the first time that neither the Avengers or Batman is in one of the top 10 movies at the box office.
It's a sad day for superheroes.
So basically, this is the rundown of the box office. 1, Resident Evil Retribution. 2, Finding Nemo 3D, awesome. 3, The Possession. 4, Lawless. 5, Paranorman, also awesome. 6, The Expendables 2. We all know how we feel about that. 7, The Words. 8, The Bourne Legacy. 9, The Odd Life of Timothy Green. And 10, The Campaign.
Director Peter Jackson put out a video this week announcing that to help celebrate Tolkien Week, which marks the 75th anniversary of the first publication of The Hobbit, he would be releasing a new trailer for The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey, on Wednesday the 19th. That's just in a couple of days. Jackson also promised that they would be sharing special content for the fans. The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey will hit AMC theaters everywhere on December 14th.
Amy Adams, the 3-time Oscar-nominated actress who is, of course, playing the iconic character Lois Lane in the upcoming Superman film Man of Steel, has wrapped shooting, and she started doing some interviews where she's talking a little bit about the character. And what she has said is that she has a massive admiration for Margot Kidder, who played Lois Lane, of course, in the original Superman films from the 80s, and explained that it was important to her to create a new kind of Lois Lane for this generation because Kidder's was, quote, perfect. AMC theaters will see Man of Steel next June. I'm excited.
It has been rumored for some time that Grammy Award-winning artist Adele would be the next artist to perform the title theme song for a Bond film. Speculation is now over as it has been confirmed that the theme for Skyfall, the next James Bond film, will indeed be performed and likely written by Adele. You can hear the song when the film opens on AMC theaters everywhere on November 9th.
The project has been in various stages of development over the last several years, but Warner Brothers Pictures and Legendary Pictures have announced that the planned Godzilla reboot now has a release date. It will stomp into AMC theaters on May 16th, 2014. Now, Gareth Edwards, who you may know from the independent movie Monsters, directs from a script by 3 different, very, very different writers. So I'm going to be interested in this script. It's David Callahan of the Expendables franchise, David S. Goyer, of course, of the Dark Knight fame, and Max Borenstein, who wrote the upcoming The Seventh Son. Legendary said they're going to try to stick as close as possible to the authentic Godzilla character. However, they're also going to release the film in 3D. Thoughts?
And that will do it for your news flash. Now it's time for us to get into some of this news and maybe some things we didn't mention in the news flash. And the first topic I want us to start off with today is I got caught up in some Twitter dialogue going on, which can sometimes be a very dangerous thing to do.
Yes, it can.
But there were some interesting, some Twitter conversations going on amongst some online film journalists that we know. And an interesting discussion broke out. And the discussion was this. Is Dredd, the new Judge Dredd film, which of course is opening this coming weekend, is Dredd better than The Dark Knight Rises? Now, this was a discussion that kind of broke out, and I thought it was kind of fascinating because let's be honest. 4 months ago, just prior to Comic-Con, is there anybody who would have guessed you would hear anybody having a discussion on comparing The Dark Knight Rises with Dredd?
Absolutely not.
Because, I mean, how bad did that movie look? How bad does Dredd look on the outside?
It does not look great.
No. Although I keep hearing people say how much they love it. So.
Right. I mean, I think that right now our perception looking at it is a little altered because we hear so many good things about it, you know?
Now.
I haven't seen it yet, but I have to say I'm really, really excited.
I haven't either, and from what everyone's told me about the lovely violence, I'm excited too.
Like... It's insane violence, right?
It is. You know, I have seen Dredd. And you've heard, if you've watched the show before, you know you've heard me talking about. Me and Jimmy O have talked about it quite a bit because we adore the film. Now, here's an interesting thing. As much as I love Dredd, even though I saw it, I still didn't think other people would agree with me. Now, as of right now, this is all subjective. It's not pure hard fact. But as of this moment, on the Rotten Tomatoes meter, Dredd is actually ranking higher than The Dark Knight Rises. Right now, Dredd is holding a 90% as of right now with about 50 to 60 reviews in. Dark Knight Rises has an 87%. Now, I find that stunning because even though I loved Dredd, I didn't think other people would agree with me. And yet we're seeing that people are actually embracing this movie.
Well, the fact that The Dark Knight is the 3rd film, I mean, that's something that I think it has a lot of weight on it. The 3rd film in a trilogy has a lot of weight. It has the weight of the other 2 films. It has whether or not the story that you've been invested in for so many years is wrapped up correctly. So something that's new and fun and deliciously violent is probably going to get more buzz.
I also think, too, that you have to, when you're looking at sort of film ratings, we get a little myopic about it. We're like, that means it's better, you know, because it's rated higher on Rotten Tomatoes. But the truth is that when people are giving reviews of films, they're taking into account what it is. So when Fast 6 came out and everyone was blown away because it was actually good and a lot of fun, they loved it, you know, but they're not going to say it's perhaps better than a film that looks like it's rated lower, but that was judged at as a higher standard. And that I haven't seen Dredd, so I may think it is better actually than The Dark Knight Rises.
It really all depends. It's much like, I mean, I bring up this comparison all the time. It's like food. I mean, there's so many different elements that go into making a film what it is, because The Dark Knight Rises is such a fundamentally different film than Dredd. But every film is really ultimately fundamentally different because they all add different elements. Is, you know, how much dramatic tension do you put into it? How much comedy do you put into it? How much action do you put in it? How much moral message do you put in it? You know, every movie has its own kind of recipe. You know, one person can take a bite of it and say, and if they like chocolate more and they eat the chocolate cake, they're going to prefer the chocolate cake over the filet mignon. Somebody who likes more of an entree kind of meal, they're going to say they like the filet mignon more than they like the chocolate cake. Neither is right or wrong. It's just that it's whatever happens to strike them and what things are they looking for in a particular movie. For me personally...
That sounds like an amazing double feature.
Yes.
Comedy and moral
really
message, salt and pepper.
Now.
Yeah. Filet mignon with chocolate cake to follow. For me personally, I mean, I'm already well documented saying how shocked I was at Dredd. I mean, we had Carl Urban as our guest on the Masters of the Web panel that we sat on. I was nervous as hell because I didn't think the movie looked any good, and I was like going to be, oh, we've got this guy, but I think your upcoming movie sucks, by the way. And then we see the movie the night before, and my mind was blown. It's so violent. It's so balls to the wall, crazy. Look, folks, I don't often on the show sit here and tell you. I think I did it with Avengers, and that might have been the last time I did. Go and see this movie. Go and see Dredd. When you're talking about other comic book, I think it might be my favorite comic book movie of the year so far. Aside from Avengers. I think aside from the Avengers, I think Dredd might be my favorite comic book. Now, once again, your mileage may vary. It depends on kind of what you're looking for. If you really put a higher value on the dramatic tension and all that kind of stuff. My problem with The Dark Knight Rises, of course, is when you rely on dramatic tension, it makes logic flaws unforgivable, and there's just too many logic flaws in there. But anyway, not everybody's going to prefer it, but for me, it was just so much fun, so gritty, so entertaining, not to Avengers level, but I think, I mean, you know how much I like Spider-Man.
Yes.
And I actually think I think I had a better time watching this than Spider-Man.
I'm guaranteed to like Dredd better than Spider-Man.
There's really no way. That's not possible. I mean,
I'm guaranteed to enjoy it, but I think I'm pretty much guaranteed to do that, especially from everything I'm hearing. But basically, you had me at more violent than RoboCop.
Yeah, that did it for me too. I wonder what that says about this table.
Good thing.
Just, throwing that out there, we all tend to really like violent movies.
All right, well, let's move on from that. Speaking of RoboCop, which was a very nice segue, by the way. Now, for those of you who don't know, a brand new RoboCop reboot is coming. It's actually already being filmed right now up in my hometown of Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. And some pictures from the set. Now, there are already people out there who dislike the idea of this film because they dislike the idea of any reboots. I mean, there are people out there who just don't like the idea of reboots.
I don't like the idea of reboots.
Right. I, for one, am totally fine with the idea of reboots. Some of the best films ever made have been reboots, so I'm okay with that. Granted, that number is...
Some of the worst ones have been reboots,
Some of the worst films ever have also been
I would have to see
reboots.
The ratios.
But the ratio of good films to bad films is pretty small already existing.
That's true.
Now, with all that being said, they're shooting this film, and we got our first. So there are people, but even people who don't mind reboots, a little bit apprehensive because RoboCop, for whatever reason, is an original film that some people are very, very attached to.
For whatever reason,
it's not that good.
Yes, no,
because it's
no.
RoboCop.
You know what? I'm misrepresenting myself.
Against Verhoeven,
I'm misrepresenting myself. Hold a second. I'm misrepresenting myself by saying it's not very good. I like RoboCop. I do. I don't think it's The Godfather that some people seem to. Some people.
I have to agree with that. I liked it a lot.
Wait a minute. RoboCop is not. No, of course it's not The Godfather. It's such a different film, and no, it's not a cinematic classic in the way that The Godfather it is. But it actually is in another way. Verhoeven does things on film that I think a narrow amount of people appreciate, and I've said this before. To me, like, the cinematic version of Soufflé is satiric camp. You can mess it up that quick.
Yes, that's true.
Very few people can do it, and he can do it. RoboCop is funny. It was at the time inventive. It was unique. It was politically and sociologically attuned to what was happening in that culture. It made a comment on it, but it was hilarious.
It was funny. It's a funny movie.
I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it, and I appreciate all the things that you're saying, but I just didn't love it. I liked it.
I think I understand all of the complaints and where I don't compare it to The Godfather, but I think there is a real
I'm just saying it's not
in it.
this. I just don't find it to be this classic. Like, even in the
It's
sense
a
of
cult
like,
classic.
even like in the sense of like Terminator, which Terminator is a classic. I wouldn't put RoboCop on Terminator's level.
No, absolutely
But I
not.
like it. I do like the film. I don't want to represent myself as if I didn't like RoboCop.
There
I did
is a
very
genius
much.
in it. There really is a genius.
Now,
in
with
it.
that being said, there are a lot of people that think the way you do on that. So obviously the apprehension. Now, the first look, and if you haven't already, Candon, maybe you can bring up that graphic.
Yeah, I've been bringing it up
The
a few times.
first look at the new RoboCop has come out. Now,
Don't you mean Batman?
or Iron Man spray painted black.
Yep.
You know what, you guys? It actually looks really not that different than the original RoboCop, suit,
Or
except that it's
not that
black.
different than Batman.
You know what? Okay, look.
Looks more like Iron Man to me.
It looks
Yeah.
more like Iron Man / Batman to me. And here's the thing. Now, look, before I say anything else, let's get this out of the way. It's a first picture from a set. Let's not read too much into it.
But it's a picture of a costume.
It's a picture of a costume. And you know what? I had a conversation with one of the guys from AMC.
May I submit to the judges, when the photographs from X-Men First Class came out of those costumes, the reaction that happened online and how many people ended up loving that movie?
Well, you know, I remember that differently. I think there was an initial reaction, people going whatever, but I think common sense kind of prevailed that you can't have in a live action film Wolverine in yellow spandex. I think common sense prevailed.
Yeah. About that helmet, about Magneto's helmet.
I remember that very differently than you do.
I will dig them up.
Okay.
Yeah, but you know what the thing about this costume is? Like, I have no problem with them updating it. It's whatever I feel about reboots. Like, if you're gonna do it, do it. But I don't mind them updating it at all. It's totally fine. It's just that this one looks very similar to everything else we've seen. Maybe the design could have been a little bit better. It doesn't mean I'm not gonna like the movie. It doesn't mean that I have a problem with the suit. I mean, look, when I was on the set of Man of Steel, I can't say anything about it. All I can say is I saw the suit, and the update didn't bother me. I don't need the underpants. It's fine. But so I don't mind updates at all. It's just I don't love this.
But the difference between the classic Superman suit and the Superman suit that we see Henry Cavill in is really in the overall structure of things, you can still look at it and say, that's the Superman suit.
Yeah.
If somebody just held up this picture and I didn't know it was from the RoboCop set and said, hey, do you know which character that is? I would never guess RoboCop.
No, and it doesn't look like you really don't get the sense that this is partially a machine. Like, you just get the sense that he's wearing a suit.
That is the biggest issue for me.
Okay, but
when I look at it,
much of that is in the sound design. So much of the sense that it's a machine is in the sound design.
We laid out a disclaimer saying, look, we're taking this picture completely out of context. We understand we don't have any context right now in which to place this picture in. We haven't seen a trailer. We don't get to see it move. We don't get to hear it because you're bang on about the sound design. All that stuff taken into considerations. All we've got is the picture. So my comments are completely restricted to the picture. But my comment is, I look at it, I don't see RoboCop. Look, if you're going to keep the title RoboCop, it just looks like a guy from a Black Ops movie. It looks like a man in a rubber suit. It doesn't look like RoboCop.
That is some amazing Black Ops. Like, if that's what Black Ops people look like, that's kind of
super tech suit. Like, it doesn't, especially after something like Iron Man.
All right. Look at this. Okay, first of all, I think it's ironic that I'm the one sitting here defending this photograph when I am probably the most opposed to this remake. Because
I don't know. I'm not particularly thrilled about the remake.
I love the first film, but I'm going to show you a side-by-side of the original RoboCop.
Of course, nobody's going to be able to see this right now.
But we'll put it in
post,
later.
right?
In post, the original RoboCop and the new RoboCop. The difference is basically that the suit is black. Now, I would say...
No, there's way more than that.
You are looking through some very oddly tinted glasses.
No, the old one looked like he was partially robotic. This looks like a suit.
He looks like RoboCop. Right. This looks like a guy in a black rubber military suit.
I think that really we're going to have to see it in context
I agree completely.
To really play. Again, not happy about the remake, not excited about it at all, because I love the original movie, but I do think that it's very difficult to tell from a snapshot. It's not even a production still.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, that's my disclaimer in all of this. I mean, like, I even say, like, look, no matter how bad a trailer is or good a trailer is, it doesn't really tell you anything. Because the movie can be amazing with a bad trailer, movie can be awful with a great trailer. This is just a snapshot. So my comments are completely limited to the snapshot. And I was talking to one of the guys at AMC on the phone yesterday, and I said, hey, look, maybe this picture is just like the guy who played Jar Jar. Maybe it's just a reference suit. Maybe they're going to CG a lot of stuff on top of it. Maybe that's just like a before and after. Maybe there's going to be multiple versions of RoboCop. I mean, there's so much stuff we don't know. It could be awesome. But just on this picture, I hate the picture.
Okay. I think a lot of people agree.
But it could be awesome. Yeah. Once we see the trailer, once we see it in context, once we hear the sound of it, once they do whatever they're going to do with it, maybe that'll change our minds completely and it'll be awesome. But just based on the picture,
I am not a fan of this picture.
I think many people will agree, and I think the danger that I will agree with you guys about this, that the danger is that they didn't distinguish it enough from some of the more iconic costumes and suits that we've seen more recently.
Yeah, it looks very much in line with the style of today as opposed to... Because the one thing you mentioned, the RoboCop outfit in the original RoboCop movie was like nothing we had seen.
Right.
It was totally cool. And you either got to do that or pay more homage to it. Now, it's got the thing coming down over the eyes, but a lot of Judge Dredd has the thing coming down over the eyes. So, I mean, it's not really original. But let's see. Maybe it'll be brilliant. We'll have to wait and find out. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. What do you think of the RoboCop picture? Are we overreacting? Is it really that bad of a picture? Could it still be awesome? Let us know your thoughts. All right, let's move on to this. Peter Jackson has went on his Facebook page, put up a video, made an announcement that this Wednesday, that's 2 days from now, they are going to be releasing a brand new trailer for The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey, which I assume we're probably going to see. Because look, when they put out the first trailer, they weren't even done shooting the first film yet.
I know.
So now they're done principal photography on the first film.
On the first film before it became 3.
Before it became 3 films.
Right.
And he's going to be putting out a trailer for The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey in 2 days. So look, it goes without saying that we're all ridiculously excited to see this movie.
Not more than me.
It is my most anticipated film of the year. I know we had this discussion.
Yes.
It's yours as well. I don't know where it ranks for you, Roth, but I know it's high up there.
It's definitely high up.
So here's the question. Let me start with you, Jenna.
Okay.
What do you want to see that maybe, like, I was not overwhelmed with the first Hobbit teaser, keeping in mind that it was really early in the process. There was very little they could show us. I understood that. But for people who, maybe like me, weren't completely thrilled with the first trailer, what are you hoping to see in this next Hobbit trailer coming out on Wednesday?
Okay, one of the things I want to see, they released the picture of Radagast.
Right, yes.
I want to see how they're going to have him play in, because honestly, in the book, he's mentioned once. He is a little bit in the Silmarillion, which they do not have the rights to.
Right.
Little bit. He's part of the whole thing with Saruman in Lord of the Rings. So, and he's very animal focused. I'd like to see how they're going to use him. I want to know how he's going to be in there. I want to know how they're going to expand the role, because that's the thing where a lot of fans freak out and they're like, well, what are you going to add in? And it's one thing if you're adding things from the appendices, but if you're creating things for it, like I'm actually okay with that, but there are people who will, and understandably, freak out about it. So I want to see what they're going to do with that. The other thing I really want to see is how they're going to split it into 3 films. Where are we going up to? I mean, from the title of the second film all being about Smaug, I think that they're going to end it with the beginning of that battle. I don't know. But I'd like to see more of what they're going to put in that is not specifically from the book.
What about you, Roth? What are you hoping to see?
Actually, that's exactly what I want to see as well. I mean, I really want to see how they are going to, we'll start to see, I mean, it's a trailer, so there's limits to what we can see. So I do want to see how they're going to start to weave in sort of this additional story that's not in the book. And I do want to get a sense of how is this going to be 3 movies? How is this by itself a movie that can then lead into 3 more? And I know we won't see this yet, but you bring up Smaug and then he'll probably show up at the end of this movie. I want to see him. I know we won't, but I want to.
Well, I think it's possible we'll get enough. We'll get like
a
glimpse
little
of him.
maybe like a tiny, even just a little tease.
But I mean, part of it, and again, like you said, it's just a trailer, so it's not like we're going to get a ton of information. But just that one particular character. I mean, you don't see him a lot in the books, in any of the books, but he's described, and there's a lot of description about, like, he was responsible for the eagle because he's an animal guy, and so like the eagle that saves Gandalf. Gandalf describes him as a cousin. Like, there's all this stuff that very few words in the actual books could be expanded. Like, they're describing him, so they could really expand that. So I think they're going to be good with it. I mean, it's Peter Jackson, so
I have a sneaking suspicion that we may not even see Smaug in the first film at all.
Oh, come on.
Don't say that.
No, think about it.
I think maybe glimpse
think
of him.
about it for
Just
a
a
second.
little bit.
Because think of the first Lord of the Rings film, right? When they reference Gollum,
right?
But you don't see him. You see some little shadow crawling in the distance, something like that. I have a feeling that what Peter Jackson may do, I don't think we're going to climax this film with them walking into Smaug's cave. And seeing, for those of you who don't know, Smaug is the big bad guy in this thing. He's the dragon.
Dragon.
Best dragon in literature ever. But I have a feeling that as the dwarves tell the story of what's going on, we'll see the tail move of Smaug. We'll see something, but I gotta
the eye or something like that.
I hope not. I want to see Smaug.
You want to see the dragon?
Yeah,
Come on,
I want to
man.
see the dragon.
Yeah.
But what
and
I'm
I think
hoping,
if they're smart, you will. Because how excited will you be for? Okay, actually, this is a good question, superfans. If you see the whole dragon, will you be more or less excited for the next film than if
More.
you just see a glimpse?
More.
But you know what?
They won't do it. They won't do the whole dragon.
The thing is, yeah, they employed a technique with the Lord of the Rings film because they know what everybody wanted to see was Gollum.
Yeah.
People wanted to see Gollum. And what did they do? They didn't
teased
show
you.
us Gollum. They teased Gollum,
Yeah.
which has made us lose our minds even more.
So you say that it is actually a good approach to not
It's
show
the approach that I
dragon.
do not want them to take.
Yeah.
But they will.
But they will,
Yeah,
and it's
they will.
hard to argue with the strategy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
And not to mention, when you're talking about a small book like The Hobbit, broken into 3 films, how do you get to Smaug by the end of the first film?
Yeah.
It's tough. I got a feeling they're just going to tease. But here's what I want to see in this trailer. The first trailer was just a random, because once again I understood this because they weren't even done shooting yet. They didn't have much to show us. But the first trailer it felt like just a random collection of shots that they had finished that they could put into a trailer.
Still made me happy.
Still made many of us happy. Once again, I wasn't overwhelmed. But what I want to see now in this trailer is at least a suggestion of some continuity as to what the story in this movie is.
Exactly.
I want them to hear them reference Smaug. I want to hear them tell the story about the gold in the mountain. I want
Right.
to understand why the dwarves are there getting Bilbo Baggins. Just give us a little bit and string together so I feel like, okay, this is a cohesive trailer that's telling me what this movie is about. Do that for me, I will lose my mind.
So you want a more traditional sort of trailer.
I want a traditional trailer
Right.
with this very untraditional film. And you do that for me, you lay out what the story is, then my heart's going to start pounding out of my chest.
And then
I
he's
get
actually
really
releasing
excited.
the extra content, the special content.
Exactly.
Yeah, what does he mean by
I
that?
don't know, but I'm excited for it.
See, I feel like the special content might start to be glimpses of those things. Like, I don't think that we can get sort of the information that we're looking for in a trailer. I think that really what they should do is what John's saying, and then just give a broad strokes for the people that haven't read the book. What is this story about anyway? And then what's it leading into next? A really traditional trailer for a film
Yeah.
like this. But I think the extra footage will probably be some of these things. It'll be some of the additional maybe it will be a dragon. It won't be a dragon.
Oh, they won't show us a
Nah,
dragon
it
at
won't
this
be a
point.
No, also, if you haven't read the book, read the book. Read the book.
You know what they'll do?
Please.
Because Peter Jackson is a big fan of, instead of showing us an entire character, having an extreme close-up of an eye.
An eye.
That's
He's
why I
done
said
that
an eye. I
Maybe
totally
we'll
think of
see
an eye.
a Smog eye.
Or I like sort of the monster eye.
The lizard-like dragon.
I bet he would do an eye and a tail. Not now.
Maybe.
Bonus.
Not now.
How geeky are we that we're just freaking out that we might get to see a tail?
Because
it's a
I
dragon.
know. I'm
Like
with
we choreographed this.
I don't know if anybody out there knows this. Jenna and I both have a thing about dragons.
We do love the. I'm wearing one. Look, wearing a dragon. Smog. It's my smog.
There you go. So I'm predicting. I'm predicting they will say that this will be the most downloaded trailer in history in its first 24 hours.
Would not surprise me.
That would not surprise. Well, what is the previous
I
record?
think that right now the record is the final Harry Potter.
Yeah. Yes, I could see that beating Harry Potter.
I
Yeah.
think this could beat it, especially, I mean, the internet does nothing but grow and get faster and whatever.
Right.
So I have a feeling when they release this thing on Wednesday, it's going. Now, honestly, I thought about this. If they announce a time when they're releasing this,
The interwebs will crash.
right? Well, here's the thing. If they did announce a time, I'm honest. What I would do is I would have us do a special live edition of AMC Movie Talk
With reactions.
to watch the trailer live as it gets in and have us discuss and break it. But since they're not giving us an actual time when it's being released, we can't really
They
plan that.
would break the web.
They
It would,
would
yeah, it would
break
break
it.
the internet. Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, I want to be on that, by the way.
Yeah. All right, let's move on from that. Once again, leave us your thoughts. Tell us what you think about this whole Hobbit stuff and the new trailer coming out. I thought this was really interesting as we move on to the next topic here. I was one of the people who was absolutely thrilled, actually, when I heard that Amy Adams had been cast to play Lois Lane. Now, of course, a lot of people complain she's not a brunette. Really? That's the big problem? Last time I checked, it's pretty easy to change hair color. in this
Except
problem
that
when
she didn't.
Well, that was the problem. Here's the even bigger deal. Oh, dun, 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 dun. That was the problem when Blake Lively got among other things. That was the problem when Blake Lively got cast in Green Lantern, but also that was the problem when Jennifer Lawrence got cast in The Hunger Games.
Right.
And her response was the same as my response. Right, they can dye her hair. But the difference is Amy Adams is not a brunette in the movie either.
Right. But that is the... And, but once again, a lot of people jumped up and down and screamed and cried when Hugh Jackman was cast as Wolverine.
Right.
He's far too tall. He's far too... Okay, yeah, but the height of the character, unless it's Puck from Alpha Flight in the Marvel Universe, and those of you who know what I'm talking about, bonus points to you, the height of the character is not a key core component to the spirit of who the character is. The hair color on Lois Lane, yes, traditionally it's been, darker brunette, the Margot Kidder kind of style, but it's not a key core component to who the character is. To me, it's all about talent. It is never a mistake to cast talent, which was the mistake in the last Superman film.
Except when we're talking about Batman and your whole thing is he's not big enough all the time. By the way, nice shout out to the Canadian Avengers.
Okay, but...
I know, right?
Okay, let me throw this in here. When you're talking about Batman, that is a key core component to who that character is. That he's the most physically perfect human being ever to be alive. And if you look at any incarnation of Batman, he is this muscled out, huge freak of nature, as strong as a human being possibly can be. And then, when then suddenly you cut to and I loved Christian as Batman.
Right.
Loved him as Batman. I thought he was great. But I was disheartened when we went from the first film to the second film, and he's like 20 pounds even lighter than he was in the previous film. I know everybody, well, that's because you had to do that movie. You were only weighed 80 pounds. Don't give me excuses.
Which one?
Yeah.
He's done that so many
he's
times.
gonna kill his body, just saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will acquiesce to you that there is a difference between that and the color of Lois Lane's hair,
Yes.
which is really irrelevant.
See, with
in my
Spider-Man,
mind.
it would be different because, like, one of the key names for Spider-Man's love interest is, doesn't he just call her Red?
Yeah.
Red.
Like a lot of
Yeah.
times?
Yeah.
That becomes an issue.
Yeah,
but
like I
Lois
don't have
Lane
a
being brown
problem with
hair
the.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the hair color. It's not the hair color. The thing about Amy Adams, and Amy Adams, by the way, is I absolutely love her. I think she's incredibly, incredibly talented, but she doesn't scream Lois Lane to me. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just something about the other films I've seen her in. I just don't. I don't know. And I'm a huge comic book fan, and I watched all of Smallville and I've seen every Superman movie. It's just there's just something about her that doesn't grab
But that
me.
brings us to the point here, though.
Yeah.
Now, Amy Adams, 3-time Oscar nominee
incredibly
actress.
talented.
She said that, first of all, she said as a woman growing up, Lois Lane, Margot Kidder's Lois Lane, was perfection. She said it was perfect. She said, so that's why it was important to me, she said in this one interview, that we'd not just try to recreate Margot Kidder's Lois Lane. We need to make a new Lois Lane. In saying that I think in my mind at least, and maybe I'm wrong, but in my head, buys a lot of leeway as to, well then, if it's a new Lois Lane, I can't picture what that looks like.
Exactly.
Right.
So maybe Amy Adams is the perfect Lois Lane for this Lois Lane.
Yeah.
It's hard to say at this point. But let me ask you the question. Here's the question I wanted to bring up and ask you guys. And Roth, let me start with you. Is it a good idea to move away from the word stereotype almost makes it sound like it's negative, but I don't mean it negatively at all. From this preconceived stereotype notion that we have of Lois Lane, such a classic, ageless character, is it a smart idea for this Superman, Man of Steel, to move away from that? Should they be trying to stick to it? Where would you fall in this if you were directing the film?
Well, I think that and I hate to put it like she's the woman, but I think that Lois has to match Superman and has to match Clark Kent because she is sort of his other, you know what I mean? So when Lois is ballsy and gutsy and balls to the walls and, hey, I'm a woman here in the workforce, ladies, which is also kind of an icon from a different era. You know, so if it's that, it's because he's nerdy and awkward and clumsy. Look, I saw the trailer and I don't think that we're going to see that kind of Clark Kent either.
Right.
And
Yeah, I
so
don't think so.
wherever he
Which
goes,
wouldn't work today, I don't think.
Yeah, I
No,
don't
it
think it
wouldn't.
would work today either at all. And so as he evolves, she also has to evolve to be his counterpart, you know? The other
That's a
thing
great
is she
point.
has to be the counterpart to Superman as well. So that when Lois is ballsy and tough as nails with Clark Kent, she's vulnerable with Superman. And she becomes soft and womanly with him because he is the Man of Steel. And so I think she's walking, Amy Adams and the production is walking a tightrope with this one because she has to be a woman in our era that us ladies can be like, yeah, raw, but also the counterpart to Superman and Clark Kent as they have conceived him in this film, which looks to me to be a very different version of the character. You look at him out on a fishing boat, you know, hauling fish in what is actually the most dangerous profession on the planet. I don't think he's this nerdy, doofy dude.
Now,
you know?
let me ask, before I get to Jenna, I'm very curious. Candon,
Yes.
as a woman who has often envisioned Henry Cavill fathering your children,
Right.
your thoughts
Every
of,
hour on the hour.
your thoughts of Amy. What do you think about Amy Adams being Lois Lane? Because I remember you and I. You were like, wait a minute, Amy Adams is Lois Lane.
Yeah,
What's your reaction to
I
that?
didn't really know that she was going to be Lois Lane. I like her. I really like her. I think she's a great actress. I think she's very cute and relatable. I don't know how she's going to bring the strength that Lois Lane has. I think she could, but I think it would be a different Amy Adams for me.
Yeah, that's true. And you know
She's a
what?
little
The
bit
fighter.
girly and frilly, and that's how I look at her, as this bubbly character. And I feel like
But
Lois
she
Lane's
was
a little
different in
more
the
like-
fighter. In
Yeah.
the fighter, she was
She
this
really was.
No, absolutely.
Boston Mark Wahlberg style.
Exactly.
Of,
Which
But
is why I'm so sorry. Which is why when I heard this casting news, I had no problem with it, because I said I've seen her transform herself in the fighter to a very tough character, and I know she can do it if she wants to. Go ahead.
There's something, the thing that I feel better, I feel that she's very, I don't know, there is that perky, bubbly thing. It's not that she can't play strong. I mean, this woman is incredibly talented. It's not that, you know, I'm not going to dislike the film because of her casting. I mean, you can't not like her in something. But there's just an essence, a quality about her that's just very perky, even when she's playing a tough character. And I don't, not that Lois isn't, but there's just something about it, and I don't think she matches Henry Cavill at all. I just think visually they don't match. They don't work together for me.
See, for me, it worked out. When I think of Lois Lane, even though, like everybody else, I grew up watching those Christopher Reeve Superman films, Margot Kidder as Lois Lane. To me, a brilliant balance of a contemporary Lois Lane while maintaining the spirit of that Margot Kidder Lois Lane. And I don't know the actress's name off the top of my head, but it was the woman who played Lois Lane in Smallville.
Oh, Erica Durance.
Thank you very much. That was a brilliant
She was
balance
fantastic.
of a contemporary Lois Lane with that smarmy attitude.
That's how I look
and
at
stuff
Lois
like that.
Lane.
Now, I'm also one of these guys that I thought it would be completely sacrilege to have Tom Welling as Superman. Smallville is Smallville. Smallville ain't Superman. It's a different world altogether. That being said, that was a great balance. And if they brought something like that, where there's definitely the spirit of the Lois Lane we've known from Margot Kidder with a very contemporary shell, I'd be very happy if they pulled off the way they did in Smallville.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, the Smallville thing. I'm a huge fan of Smallville. You're totally right. It's not the same. Like, Tom Welling would not have worked in the film. Absolutely not. As much as I love him, it's not the same thing.
Right, it's a different. And I love the show too.
Yeah, but I mean, Erica Durance. See, for me, like, I grew up with Margot Kidder too, but I guess after so many years of watching Smallville, Erica just is the essence of Lois to me. She's feisty. She doesn't back down, but she does that vulnerability with Superman very, very well, and it doesn't take away. It's not like I'm tough until you show up and then I melt.
Yeah.
It's the real true vulnerabilities come out while still maintaining who she actually is, and so that I think, and I'm not saying Amy Adams can't do that. It's just that's Lois for me.
Okay.
I did not find her perky at all in The Fighter. I really didn't. I mean, I know what you're talking about, and I think we definitely see that in Enchanted and a lot of other films, you know, but I didn't see that there. But the other thing is that I think what Amy Adams has that's similar in a way, although these are very different actresses, to Margot Kidder, is that she's a little more relatable than maybe some of the actresses in Hollywood, that it would feel like all of a sudden there's this distance because they are so perfect. They are so beautiful. They are so far out of the realm of what it is to be a human being. Now, Amy Adams is gorgeous, don't get me wrong, but she's got kind of that girl next door
feel to her,
Totally.
which
gorgeous.
only adds to her hotness, actually,
Which
in my
only
mind.
adds to her hotness, but it
You're a
always
Marianne
adds.
guy.
It adds to the idea that Superman, this man, you know what I mean, man from outer space, like this God on Earth, is choosing her. I think that was part of the dynamic,
Yeah.
you know, with Lois and Superman.
Are we all going to be in agreement, though, that before we even see one frame of this movie, she's going to be a better Lois Lane than Kate Bosworth?
Poor
Yep.
Kate Bosworth, but
Yeah.
yeah.
The chat roll said that that Amy Adams can have purple hair as long as she's not Kate Bosworth.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to agree with that.
It's true, but it's sad. I like her.
is
But
sad.
I do
know.
too. I like
do
Kate
too.
Bosworth
It's not
too.
in that.
Terrible
That was the
casting.
wrong casting. That
Really
was just the
bad.
wrong casting. All right.
I think they should cast me, by the way.
just want to throw that in
Just
there.
want to throw that out there.
With purple hair.
As long as Henry Cavill is playing it.
If I'm in that movie with him, I can have purple hair. That's fine with me. Whatever.
All right. Well, listen, folks. Keep dropping in your comments there into the comments and into the live chat board. Well, listen, folks. Listen, every week we like to take some time in the show to take your questions. You don't just have to be watching us live. You can email us anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. And you can send us your questions, your comments, the things you want us to bring up in the show. We get all of them. We pick out a few to address. And Cannon's got a bunch pulled out back there. So, Cannon, what do we have from the mailbag?
All right. Let's see the first one. I'm going to really butcher this name, and I'm so sorry. This is from Adinii L. Not sure. Sorry about that. Love the show and you guys. Thank you so much. We love you too. I wanted to ask you guys, do you think it would be a good idea to have all new faces for the Justice League movie or big name stars? And is there really going to be a Voltron movie?
Oh, two radically different questions. Last I heard, let's start with the Voltron one. Help me out. The last I heard about Voltron, and we're going back 4 years now, Tobey Maguire had bought some rights and was going to be a producer on it. Far as I know, it's completely stuck in the mud and hasn't moved anywhere. What have you guys heard?
I've heard no movement on it.
I've heard no movement either, which means maybe. I mean, if people have rights, it can come up 20. I think that One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, he had the rights for like 10, 20 years before he made it.
Why
Yeah,
the
but-
Last Man is
Douglas,
popping back up. I mean,
you know?
anything
Yeah.
could happen. I just haven't heard anything about it
But man,
recently.
if you wanted to do a Voltron movie live action, which I think is the way you got to do it,
Yeah.
that's a ridiculously expensive film to make.
Yeah.
I mean, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, you can pull together the right cast, right filmmakers, $18 million, boom, you got your movie. This, you're talking like a $200 million minimum movie to make, and I haven't heard any movement out. So I'm going to say it's doubtful. As far as Justice League goes, I've said this before, I'd really like to see new faces, personally. Throw in one or two big iconic names to bring it along. I mean, that's kind of an Avengers thing.
Approach.
Yeah, let's look. Chris Pine, who was he before Thor? Before he was Thor, he's like, wait a minute, the guy who played Captain Kirk's dad in the Star Trek reboot?
Isn't that amazing when you really think about it?
It's like, and
Yeah.
he's Thor, but he was perfect. As much as I like Captain America, Chris Evans, he's never really broken through to being that A-list guy. So that was a kind of a middle of the road kind of casting, and I think he's awesome as Captain America. And then of course you had your big one name,
Yes.
who only became a big name again, Robert Downey Jr. because of Iron Man. But
That was, yeah, I mean, that's the interesting thing. That is the big, huge megastar. And now I think we forget that at the time, his career was in a lull.
lull is a kind way to put the
try to
state
be
of his
kind.
career when they
It
cast him.
wasn't in good shape.
No.
But yeah, I mean, I'd definitely like to see some lesser names because, first of all, to sell me on a Justice League movie, like I'd not go see it, but still, like the DC for me, and I love DC in many, many ways, but these are very clean superheroes for the most part. I'm not talking about Batman, but a
Right.
lot of them are very clean. They're very morally focused. There's nothing dirty about them. So well, all right, maybe there is.
So many thoughts.
Well, in fan fiction, I'm quite certain there's a lot of dirty. Hey, they're hooking up Superman and Wonder Woman in the comics, so whatever. But if you're gonna give me big names, then I'm not gonna believe the like moral high ground all the time. I'm just gonna be like, oh, it's you being adorable and great, and like I want to see somebody new. I want to see some face that's gonna drag me in and make me think, okay, I don't know what you're gonna do. I know nothing about you. I want to see you do something. I want to question whether or not you're going to take this high ground.
You know, one of the ballsiest things I remember, now I'm not a huge DC reader. I've certainly read a lot of them through the years, but not as much as, like, say, I've read X-Men. But I think one of the ballsiest things that DC Comics ever did was, and I think one of the most interesting things they ever did, was when they turned Aquaman from the clean-cut looking American boy next door to the guy who's really mad at everything because he lost his hand and he went all...
Because he's Aquaman?
Yeah, and he went all Kurt Cobain and went like he just got shaggy looking and mean and nasty, and it's like that was one of the most interesting things I'd ever seen DC Comics do.
Do you guys feel the same way? Well, okay, three things. Jenna and I did a debate, by the way, speaking of DC versus Marvel.
You do need to see this.
That you will need to see about Tony Stark and Bruce Wayne and who would have more luck with the ladies, I'll put it that way, at a party.
We'll put a link to that in the show notes.
Yeah.
But okay, do you guys feel the same way about these characters given the DC reboot, first of all, and given what it looks like, the direction that they're going in with Man of Steel? I mean, I don't think that they're going to stick to this like apple pie cookie cutter.
I hope they don't.
No, I don't think they are. I think you're
either.
absolutely right. I think with the Man of Steel thing that we've seen so far, it does clearly look like they're bringing a more somber tone to it, if you will. I think that's the right direction. We'll see how that translates into the other characters.
Well, yeah, even if you're just looking at a comic like Kingdom Come, which, by the way, if you haven't read it, you really should. It will change everything you feel about DC if you're not a DC person.
To me, the second best DC thing next to The Dark Knight Returns, in my opinion. But it's amazing.
Absolutely.
All right, what else we got in the mailbag?
All right, next mailbag. Let's see. Our next mail is from Amanda B. She says, "Hey guys, you are so much fun to watch. I love how you get into the movies and shows you talk about. I want to know what you think of the trailers for Wreck-It Ralph, Hansel and Gretel, and the Rise of the Guardians. I'm excited for Wreck-It Ralph. I love the old games. Sonic and Pac-Man were the best. I do like Sonic.
I got it. Wreck-It Ralph is like my thing. I'm really excited about this because I'm a huge gamer and I've been a huge gamer since those games were out. So I love every single second of Wreck-It Ralph. I'm so excited for it. It is cutest thing ever, and like the ghosts and the rehab for the bad guys. It's awesome.
I do like the idea of Wreck-It Ralph. I like the idea of him just wreaking mayhem.
I was thinking it was a horror film. I don't know.
in the 8-bit video world, I'm wreaking it.
I like that. I think the trailer. I think that this looks like a friend of ours, who I won't say who said this, but that basically Disney made a Pixar film with this one.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of these are really fun, interesting, unique characters in a given world in what Pixar does so well, which is the imagined world of, which is like when you're not looking at toys, they come to life, and this is what they do. They're doing that with video games, which I think is so fun.
I believe my video games play without me.
They do.
Of course they do.
I have been looking forward to Wreck-It Ralph. I met with John C. Reilly before I even knew much about the film, and he explained the film to me, and to me it sounded fascinating. I did not have it on my top 10 or top 5, whatever the list was, of the ones I'm still most looking forward to. And the first trailer for Wreck-It Ralph was very cute. It was very cute, but nothing that made me jump up and down about. However, this past week, and we'll put a link to this in the show notes as well, the second trailer for Wreck-It Ralph came out. And this trailer is the one that, for me, did exactly what we were just talking about. It felt like a Pixar film,
right?
Yep.
With richness in character and an actual journey that's about to happen. And it doesn't hurt that they had like the perfect song for the trailer too. What was that name?
No, but I'm enjoying this. Keep singing to us.
Please do that again.
You'll know when you see the trailer of the song. I mean, it's perfect that it just feeds into this thing, and I want to follow this guy now.
Yeah.
Now I'm super pumped. It's still nowhere near as good as I predicted that the trailer for Abraham Lincoln is, which is, dear heavens, oh my God, that trailer looks so freaking amazing. But that being said, my excitement level for Wreck-It Ralph just jumped through the roof. We talked about Hansel and Gretel a couple times last week. Feels like what's the name of the guy who hunts?
Van Helsing.
It feels like Van Helsing.
Little like Van Helsing.
Feels like Van Helsing.
Yeah.
Still very excited to see the movie, but the trailer is bad.
Yeah.
And the Rise of the Guardians, when I heard about it and I read about it, sounded beyond ridiculous. I've seen a couple of trailers now, and I'm like, I think I want to see this movie. I actually think I'm really quite interested in seeing this movie. But I don't know. What do you guys think of the Rise of the Guardians stuff?
Same thing. I didn't think I'd be interested at all, and now seeing it, I'm like, well, I could totally go watch that.
Yeah, I wouldn't again put it in my most anticipated films.
Right. Yeah.
But sure, why not? And I think I think we're talking a lot about what expectations you have going into something sort of affects how you view it, because I didn't really have necessarily any attachment to the idea of Wreck-It Ralph. I was very charmed by both trailers. I think this last one was stronger, but I really like the idea of what things are doing when we're not looking at them. I think that's so imaginative and fun, and we all kind of go there in our imaginations. And I also like the idea of somebody breaking out of his preordained destiny, and I think those are really, really common things in great animated films.
Having said that, with Wreck-It Ralph now, we have 3 animated films in the past number of years that have promised us a film to tell us a story from the perspective of the bad guy.
Sure.
So you have Wreck-It Ralph, you've got Despicable Me, you've got Megamind. But none of these films are really delivering on that promise because none of them are bad guys.
No, Ralph isn't bad. That's just his job.
Yes, that's just his
wrecks
job.
Stuff.
But I remember, like, when John C. Reilly was explaining the movie to me, he was saying, well, it tells a story from the perspective of the bad guy who, wants to be loved. It's like, okay, that sounds great to me. And it still does look amazing to me. But Megamind, it was the same. The Will Ferrell telling us at the round table saying, it's, telling the story from the perspective of the bad guy. Well, the thing is, he doesn't really turn out to be the bad guy. And then Despicable Me, which I actually quite enjoyed Despicable Me. I think it's
Minions.
Cute. Yes, so adorable. And once again, he's playing the role of the bad guy, but the character really isn't the bad guy. I am still dying to see a movie told from the perspective of the bad guy.
I think you're going to have to watch American Psycho. I mean, the truth is that you cannot do a child animated film with a real bad guy.
But I mean, but don't. I mean, you know what? Even that being said, Despicable Me, you could have made him legitimately the bad guy and still had it been cute and adorable, because there are sections of that movie where he is the bad guy, but it's still funny and light, and I think you can do that with an animated film. I think it's possible.
For kids? I mean, ultimately, the kids really have to be able to relate to the character, otherwise they're not going to sell any toys, John.
I think they would. I think somebody needs to take a chance, give it a shot.
And I don't think parents want their kids getting that lesson.
I got a niece and a nephew.
Bad behavior
I think there is a way to do it and to do it right. Anyway, what do we have? What's next?
Next email is from Cooper. Hi, John and the Movie Talk staff. Keep up the good work with the show. My question is, Universal Studios has announced they plan to move forward with a Ted sequel.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that. I loved Ted, but I'm unsure about a sequel, as it could overdo the same formula like Hangover Part 2, and it wouldn't be as funny. Personally, I would like to see Seth MacFarlane make another original comedy like Ted, or even move forward with the Family Guy movie over a Ted sequel. What are your thoughts? I agree with that.
Well, I didn't love Ted. I liked it. It was funny. It was very funny, but I didn't love it in fact, Roth and I were at the same screening, and she and a friend of ours were like rolling on the floor, and then me and another friend of ours were like, this is quite funny.
They were glancing at us with mild
We
judgment.
thought they were having seizures. We're not.
We were total morons.
Right, no. But we did maybe moved a little bit to the left. But I think that, I think it would be overdone. I totally agree with that. Like, it was, whether you liked it or loved it, I think it was really well contained. And if you do it again, it's just going to be boring. Really.
Okay, I got to disagree with you on this. First of all, the problem with The Hangover Part 2 wasn't that it had the same formula. The problem with The Hangover Part 2 was it had the same script.
The same.
Well, there's that.
It didn't have the same
that wasn't formula.
Yeah,
that was the same script.
That was the same exact story.
Yes.
Yep.
Plot
In
point by
Bangkok.
plot point. Yes, just in a different city.
With a monkey and not a baby.
With Ted, which I'm more on Roth's side, I laughed my fool head off at that movie. Ridiculously funny. But let's be clear here. There is nothing original about Ted. Ted is the Family Guy with different characters.
Yes.
It is the exact, comedy style, the exact kind of timing, the exact kind of edginess. It is, without question, it is the Family Guy formula. Even the cutaways were exactly. They did cutaways.
I love the cutaways.
Yes, and so do I.
The cutaways with through lines.
Yes.
Like the cutaways with through lines, and even the references with through lines that that sort of keep weaving in it, like the Flash Gordon reference,
which went on way
the Flash
too
Gordon
long.
Reference,
No,
but just like Family Guy,
way too long.
When Peter Griffin and the Family Guy say, "Hey, it's just like that time that I was the bodyguard for Matt Damon," and it cuts away to something, and him saying, "Hey, it's just like that time when the first time we danced together," and they have the different versions of the dancing. Ted is completely the Family Guy formula. Nothing original there. That being said, I can watch Family Guy episode after episode after episode for 4 or 5 days without sleeping. It's the same formula, but they find a way to make it funny and it feels fresh and all that kind of stuff. I think there is no reason whatsoever that he couldn't do that with Ted and those characters. I think you can bring them back. I think you can just have them in different situations. It becomes much like a serialized television show at that point, but why not if it works? I would love to see a Family Guy movie. I think they will do that eventually, especially now with the success that he's had with Ted. I'm all for it. It is a repetition of the formula, but the formula works.
Well, I'm just going to say one thing. Like, I am a South Park girl, not a Family Guy girl.
Well,
Right.
I don't think you have to be one or the other. I love South Park. I love Simpsons. I love Family Guy.
I'm not a huge Family Guy fan.
But having said that, what's amazing to me about Seth MacFarlane's sense of humor is that I feel like it's possibly one of the most divisive comedic talents that is out there. You love him, you hate him. I love him. I love that crazy random style. I love the pop culture references. I love that in a stand-up comedian. You know what I mean? I love Eddie Izzard because he makes all of these references so fast
that
you
too.
can just barely keep up. You have to know exactly what he's talking about or you're going to miss the joke. It's amazing. And then he ties it all together in the end. And I think he does the exact same thing, just like you say, Ted. And he takes things that shouldn't talk and shouldn't be sentient and shouldn't be rude, but are like babies and dogs and teddy bears.
I don't like talking babies. I have a horrible problem talking babies. It creeps me the hell out.
No, I have look. I once again, I love Family Guy. I watch it over again. I adored Ted. I'm dying to see a sequel. I love it. I mean, but sure, Seth MacFarlane has his detractors. Does he get, especially in his TV series, does he get really on his soapbox and get really preachy? Yes, he does. Does he repeat certain jokes a little too often certain times? Yes, he does. Should he stop playing music videos in Family Guy? Yes, he should. But all that being said, at the end of the show, at the end of the movie, at the end of the day, he made me laugh myself sick.
Yes.
And that's ultimately is, for me, all that really matters.
It made me chuckle.
And made you chuckle.
He made me laugh on the floor in this movie, and Family Guy has its ups and downs, as does every series that has run that long,
Yeah.
especially an animated series.
Yeah, I think we're going into season 9, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken, or 10.
Yeah.
Or
And
something
by the way,
ridiculous.
just so we know, like, I don't have a problem with Seth at all. And I do find some of the stuff funny. I'm just not a fan. And it could be the talking baby thing. I don't know. I just don't.
We got to go for now, but thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, join us on Mondays and Thursdays at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's 2 p.m. Did I say a.m. or p.m.?
PM.
11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's Los Angeles time. 2 p.m. New York time at the email address or at the web address, to say, that you see listed below. Don't forget you subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can find it at youtube.com/AMC Theaters. Find this episode, jump in the comments section, let us know your thoughts on any of the issues that we discussed
Tell
below,
us we're right.
which they're not. But
I think the Three
just
Blondes win.
anything there. And once again, I want to thank you guys who took the time to join us live. Thank you, Cannon back there, who's been keeping an eye on your stuff. Sorry we don't have time to get to the questions that you guys threw in the chat board. We're already way over time.
It's
Sorry
okay.
about that.
Everybody was just pissed that you didn't talk more about Lincoln. That's it.
Yeah, I probably should talk more about it. We'll bring that up next time. I want to thank Dennis Zen, who sits over there running this show from his desk over there. As always, Miss Jenna Bush.
Thank you for having me.
And you'll have to tell us the next time you're on a little bit about your travels that you went on recently.
I'm not allowed to. It was a set visit. So I can't tell.
You
I
can't
can
even
tell
say
you about
what the
Dragon Con next time.
Can you not even say what the set visit was
Nope,
for?
can't.
Okay.
Nope. I can tell you about Dragon Con, and there are stories from that,
All right.
but I can't tell you why I was there.
Roth Cornett, who you can find every day at amctheaters.com. She's the associate editor of Movie News.
Thank you.
And for myself, thank you guys again. Don't forget to join us again. And until next time, my name's John Campia. Bye-bye. If you enjoyed this video, please click the like button below. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and join us at amctheaters.com. And watch one of our other AMC Movie News videos below.